You can't wait for things to line up and make sense and have all your ducks in a row. Millionaires don't wait till, okay, everything's perfect, everything's lined up, okay, now we're gonna make this decision. I realized that making the decision comes first, and then everything else starts to line up.
I am here with my amazing friend Michelle Rohr, and we have an incredible story. Well, Michelle has an incredible story to share with you all. So Michelle is the founder of the Secret Owl Society. She was also part of Team FEA. Woo, 7 years.
7 years.
That's amazing. We're actually here in the sweltering heat of Palm Springs, and we have Inspired Vacay happening. Woohoo! So basically, Michelle came to our last Inspired Vacay, which was in Mallorca back in 2017. And since then, she's been doing some amazing things. And there's this one story that she shared with me around how she had this...
epiphany.
Yeah, let's go and you say it.
Epiphany around if I wanted to be a millionaire, which I'm not yet, but on my way. And I had this epiphany that if I was going to be a millionaire, I had to start making million dollar decisions. So kind of back to that teaching of you have to act before you are in order to become it.
I just love your thinking on it, and I feel like all of us can change we all need to change and up-level our thinking to get us to where we want to be. And I think the way you talk about this epiphany is just so powerful, and if we all implemented what you do or what you've done, we could all transform our lives. Okay, so take us back to when this all came about. And
well, it actually happened kind of before the vacay, so it was kind of like leading up to it, and then the last vacay was kind of the blossoming of it to the next level. But a few months before the vacay in Mallorca, I just had this realization that I was acting at the level I was and just recreating that level. And I wanted to break to the next level. I wanted to be a millionaire. And when I think about being a millionaire, it's not just, oh, I want to have $1 million in the bank. It's to become a millionaire. I really resonate with what Jim Rohn teaches, where he says, become a millionaire for what it makes of you to become a millionaire.
I love that.
And I just feel like to create $1 million in revenue, I have to be who I'm capable of being. Like, I have to reach my potential. It's almost like the money is a marker of how much you've grown. And so I just realized, okay, time to make decisions that a millionaire would make. And I think the first decision I made was I invested more money than I've ever invested before in a program. I think it was like $3,000. So I had invested all this money in this program and this coaching, and to have lifetime access to this course creation platform, and I was just all in. And at that point, it was kind of like I didn't have like extra money lying around. Like, all these decisions I've made, they did require money. And I want people to know that it's not like I whipped out a credit card and went into debt. So I got to this point where I just realized I had to step into it and own it and really follow through with the coaching, really do all the accountability. And it was just like this decision to rise up as a person who is a millionaire. Like, I had to act like a millionaire. It's not just spend the money and you just bought a bunch of stuff. I had to really act like it. But after the vacay, I just continued to make these kinds of decisions. One of them was retiring my husband. And so again, I didn't have the money to do that, but I just knew that if I did it, I would rise up and become the kind of person who could live like that, who could live with a husband who wasn't going to work. That was the other epiphany, was realizing that you can't wait for things to line up and make sense and have all your ducks in a row. Like, realizing that millionaires don't do that. Millionaires don't wait till, okay, everything's perfect, everything's lined up, okay, now we're going to make this decision. I realized that making the decision comes first, and then everything else starts to line up. Yeah. I wanted to move closer to Miami, or at least, in Miami ideally. And at first, when we sat down to think logically about it, like, how are we going to get our ducks in a row and make this happen and be financially,
sensible.
Sensible.
Yeah.
And then it hit me again where it's like, no, wait a minute. Anytime that I've made a decision to do something, it wasn't because all the ducks were lined up. And I look back on the times that I've made decisions to do something, it always worked out. I didn't even know where the apartment was. I just knew that there was this apartment that looked nice and I wanted to move there. And I just like, you know what, call them and see if there's anything available. She was like, we have 2 available. And I was like, okay, when are they available? They're gonna be available next month. And my husband's on the phone just chatting, and I'm telling him to ask her questions. And I just said, tell her we're coming next month. We hadn't talked about this, we hadn't planned this. And he was like, really? He just goes along with it. It's like, okay. And it worked out perfectly. But the thing is, you don't just throw money around and decide to move from one place to the other. There's this moment that happens afterwards where it's kind of like, okay, you got to be this person now. You can't just spend money like you're this kind of person. You have to actually be this person. In those moments, I would literally tell Miguel, it's like, okay, things are going to get intense, because there's this period of time that's just like the pressure is on and it's intense and it's like this friction. Like, I remember this quote or something that says that whenever something changes from one state to another state, there's this like energy that's just like vibrating, and it just feels really uncomfortable. But really, that's what it feels like to change, for matter to turn from one type of matter to another matter. And so it just creates these intense periods, and I would just tell Miguel, it's about to get intense. And so for like 2 weeks or 2 months, it would be really intense, and we would up-level our lives.
It's just so, like, it's so amazing to think that, like, we can all make this change. But what are some practical things then? What can I do today to make that shift and to have that change? Like, what do you think it's about?
It's kind of like unpredictable. It's almost like, that's why there's epiphanies. It kind of just hits you, and you're like, new mindset.
Yeah.
I see the world differently.
Yeah.
I think we all get those epiphanies, and I can't tell you how to have them or have them more quickly, and here's how do X, Y, Z, and you're going to have an epiphany by the end of it. But when you have those epiphanies, because I think we all have epiphanies, strike us out of the blue, out of nowhere, it's like, do something, take action, don't just sit on it, because your life can change dramatically, I believe, every 90 days. And I feel like every 90 days we do get an opportunity to step into a higher version of ourselves. I think there's something magical about that 90-day time frame. And I'm just aware that that is something going on. I don't think that my life is supposed to be the same year after year after year. I know that there's these like windows into my potential that open up in just like random moments, and I've just gotten really good at noticing it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just exercising that muscle where when you have an epiphany, when your intuition is speaking to you, listen and act, and then that gets stronger and it happens more frequently and more often. And I think it's not something you can time, but it's something that happens, and when it happens, you have choices.
So I think, I totally agree, and like having that awareness and paying more attention to yourself, like listening and like watching closely, and then, like you said, acting on it is so important. Otherwise, like, if you live with your head buried in the sand, not really paying attention to what's really going on, then you end up you keep staying stuck, don't you? You stay stuck in that cycle. But like you said, if you just watch for the signs, act on the epiphanies, listen,
exactly,
create that awareness, and you can have those transformational moments and shifts.
You can tell someone what to do, exactly what to do, but if it's not the right moment, if they don't have the right mindset, then that's not the answer. The answer is inside of them. They have the power, they have everything they need. It's just, do they believe that? Do they listen to that? Do they cultivate that? Do they act on that? It just happened out of nowhere. I didn't like sit down and think and then have this epiphany. I was just making bread for the millionth time in this cafe, and then it just hit me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh my gosh, I've been here doing the same thing on repeat for 2 years. I've lived the same year twice. I need to take control of my life, and the way to do that is to take responsibility. I'm going to start living differently, and I'm going to start putting myself first. And it was just like a train hit me. And then what did I do? Just wake up and go through the motions again? It's like, no, I woke up and was like, what can I do differently today? Yeah. And so I've just noticed every single time that has happened, because it happens often, and I think one of the things that entrepreneurs are guilty of is we do something and it works, but then we don't keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you listen to your intuition and you had an epiphany and you acted on it and that worked out, why not keep doing it every single time that happens? So that's my advice.
Yeah, and just like one final thing, I think a lot of people experience resistance. So they'll have this like epiphany and this like amazing clarity, and then they'll resist actually making that change because it's scary, because it's uncomfortable. And so they'll push it away, or they'll start, their logical brain will kick in and be like, well, it's unrealistic to do this, and I shouldn't be doing this, like what you're saying. Like, I think a lot of people who might have had the epiphany that you had about, okay, if I want to be a millionaire, and you start thinking and acting like a millionaire now, I think too many people will be frightened to make the decisions that you then made.
Yeah, they were scary decisions.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, if you want to create that change, it is bloody scary, and you have to have the guts to actually do it and to show up for it.
I'm not gonna lie, it took bravery. It wasn't like piece of cake, whip out a credit card. It was like, oh my gosh, I have to actually do this. Like, I retired my husband, I have to actually replace his income. I told these people I'd move next month. I have to actually move like a year early. And it's like, but that's the thing. I feel like we get these glimpses into who we are capable of being, and we need to let that voice speak louder than who we've been up to that point.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm just letting this person who is inside of me, who I want to become more like, be the person leading the way instead of the person I've been up to this point. Because what I realize is I can do it. It is possible. It's not, I did it and I didn't die. The resistance was there, but here I am. I'm still alive and everything worked out. So it's like you keep proving these things to yourself and realize that there's these voices inside of you, and one is the voice of the past and the other is the voice of your potential, and it's who you choose to listen to and which voice gets louder the more you listen to it.
So true. Oh, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's so inspiring.
Thank you for having me.
Hope that was inspiring for you as well. I know it's so inspiring for me. I could listen to your story on this over and over and over again, because every time I hear it, it's just another reinforcement of yes, I need to keep doing what I'm doing, and I need to keep scaring myself and following that path, because that's the path that leads to growth. And yes, sometimes you have setbacks along the way, and sometimes not everything works out, but ultimately that's the way to actually keep living up to your potential and expanding. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have absolutely loved this video. If you have, feel free to leave a comment or share it, and I will see you soon.
Bye.